Hello, this is Dr. Hassan Abdullah with the course Web Applications Programming. And the topic which we are covering is PHP Programming. And that topic is numbered as 10 in the list of topics. And this is topic or lecture 10B. So this covers the next 5 Q&A in the list of Q&A for the topic number 10. This video and other videos, they are based upon they use the supplemental website easymcq.com/goget. Easymcq.com is a personalized learning management system, and I urge you to look at the videos, 6 videos, which explain and which show that how it's beneficial. And the approach is the question answer based approach along with the traditional approach. More stress on the question answer based approach because it's proactive and it is engaging and it solves real life problems. So these are the list of topics which are covered in this course. And topic number 10 is the topic which we are covering, which is PHP programming. And that topic is further divided into 15 questions and answers. And all of the questions and answers basically are concepts. So the first 5 questions and answers are covered in the lecture 10A, and the next 5 are covered in 10B, and the last 5 are covered in 10C. So now we move to the supplemental website and work on the question and answers as per the lecture. So we are at the question and answer part for the video lecture 10B, which was PHP programming. So in question and answer number 5 of 10A, we made a form, and in which form we entered certain data, and that data was submitted. That we can do, of course, using HTML. And of course, if the necessary PHP is not there, then passing it to the next page and working on it would be a problem. So what we did was that we passed that data, and we are at question number 6. So using PHP, make a confirmation page. So the data that was submitted earlier, that needs to be confirmed. That appears after data is collected through the registration form. So we see that certain registration is done, and then there's a submit button, and pressing that submit button takes to the next page, and where it is confirmed that what was submitted. So if we look at the bottom of the page, so this is the code for that page, for the confirmation page, and this is something what you're going to see, like, okay. So if you're going to copy paste this code, please be careful about the page, the line numbers, right? So how it works? So first of all, there's a form submission check, lines 2 to 3. So let's look at lines 2 to 3. Form submission check. Let me zoom it. So, all right. So check if form data was submitted, right? So you need to check that the data was actually submitted or not, right? So that's a 2 is basically is a comment, and here you basically check. So post was there or not. Okay, the method post was used or not, and and you know from the previous lecture 10A that post $_ post is a super global variable, right? And here you are submitting the values, right? This is the name, right? And this is the variable in which that value is loaded. All right. So you check this, and then collecting form data, lines 5 to 12. Lines 5 to 12, you collect the data, all right, 5 to 12. So lines 5 to 12, you collect the first name, last name, password, retype. This is coming from the previous page using the post method, right? And favorite widget and newsletter required or not, and comments and so on. And then you also check whether the password that was submitted and the one which was retyped, they match or not. And if there is a match, then you do an exit. And if there is no exit, then of course uh, you just display these messages. uh, Gender, right? Echo. So this is the double quotes. This is just going to be echoed like this, and then the dollar gender variable in which the gender was male or female, that is printed. Okay, and then of course you display these things and provide an OK button to proceed with writing. All right. So proceed with writing, the OK button, right? And if the form is not submitted, redirect to the membership form page. If it's not, and there's the but index.php is the default. So if you just type any location and you have that index.php page or index.htm page, that the contents of that page are going to be executed. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. Thank you for registering Tommy Johnson. That was the name. Gender, favorite widget, newsletter, yes, comment, and okay. Right. So this is what has been explained over here. So nothing much to it, but it is better to know what is happening, and then when you come across it, then it is time saved. Now question number 7 and 8, they are fairly simple. What I'm going to show you here, as you can see that the duration is also very short, 50 seconds read, 53 seconds read, but there's a lot of reading here in question number, because this is a concept about 5 minutes here, and question 10 is also about 5 minutes. So in question and answer, basically I'm going to show you the concept here. So what we'll do is that I'll show you two pages, p1 underscore get.php, p2 underscore get.php. So from this page, the parameters are going to be passed, and they're going to be passed to this page, and I'm going to show you that you can have two pages which look identical. All right, which two pages? These two pages, p1 underscore get.php and p1 underscore post.php, but the method of passing the parameters are different. Over here we use the get method, and here we use the post method. So the purpose is to show you what's happening, right? So let's take a look. So we're looking at question number 7. So we will use the get method. Okay, so what this page has, p1 underscore get, this page contains a form that submits the data to p2.php. Okay, or p2 underscore get.php, which was like this one, and the method is get. All right, and that the other page, okay, uses the dollar underscore get super global variable, which is readable, right? And then of course it takes the necessary action, and of course to avoid injection, right, what we'll do is that we do the HTML special characters to avoid the injection. And of course the string underscore repeat function repeats a string, in this case as static, for a certain number of times. This is for the password, so that the user cannot see the password. Now look carefully. Look carefully. So we have you enter your details, first name, last name, major, agriculture, username. Uh, it's here. Okay, James JS agree, and the password, and then you do the submit. Now what you see here, that is the key. So it goes to this point, p2 underscore get.php, and here are the parameters being passed. Question mark, first name is James and last name is Smith, and major is equal to agriculture, and username is this, and password is 1234556. That's a very bad way of passing the username and password because it is readable. Very bad way. Okay, so there's no fun in like putting these asterisks here because this was visible here. Anyway, so that is the code. right? You can use this code to perform these operations. So you have this page P1, and then you have the other stuff, right? And then you can of course do these things. But that is a bad way of doing a good thing. Okay, bad way of doing the right thing, or so to say. All right, so we move on to question number 8. Question number 8, instead of using the get method, we use the post method. Okay, again the form is the same details, right? But the difference is there that you use the post method, p2 underscore post, and here is the page p1. Okay, just hold on, let me zoom it properly. Yeah, now it's more. So this is the page p1. These are the values, right? And in the method is post, right? The method is post. We perform the post, and these are the values which are posted. And you can see that none. This is the display, and so these values are not being shown. Okay, these values are not being shown. So this is the address which we are being using, and this is the code. Okay, so received data post, and this data was posted and it was not visible. Okay, so we see that we did this. The what you can say is that the objective is the same. The objective is the same, but the methods are very different. Okay, and the outcomes can be different also, because we are using get versus post. All right, now for doing any serious work, you need to be able to understand and should be able to use the session method, because without it, there's total chaos. Uh, it's total chaos, because whenever there is read and write, because read and write to a database is also cannot be made available to everybody. Writing and reading, right? So that we can control using session variables. So what is the definition of a session variable, and what is the purpose of a session variable in PHP, that we will discuss, and what the session variables are, and how we start a session. And we, of course, when we start a session, we also destroy a session also, and what we can store, what data that can be stored in a session, storing the data in a session. And of course, when we write the data to a session, we should be able to retrieve the data from a session also. And remember that these sessions, which I showed you in the previous lecture also, you cannot destroy these sessions at the client and by deleting the history or doing whatever, because this session data is at the server side. So you cannot, so unless and until you unset a session or kill a session or destroy a session, the session is going to be there, it's going to be intact. Okay, so how to secure the session also. So this method $_session is used to manage the session variables, and these session variables persist means that they stay, they don't go away, and they persist across not a single page but multiple pages. Okay, and they are not like cookies. They're not like cookies. Cookies are at the client side. Okay, they are stored at the server. Okay, and this is used for tracking purposes. What we would like to track, we would like to track authentication. That is that person allowed to view this page? Preferences, store the preferences, what kind of a background or foreground or font this person wants to be displayed, and other data which like to be retained, such as the contents of a shopping cart or whatever. So you start a session by a session start, session underscore start. Okay, and you also destroy a session also. which is a clearing the session. And sessions prevent hijacking. Why? Because you want to secure it, right? And you have to configure it properly. So it's a super global array that we have mentioned number of times, and it allows to retain the user specific data. Okay, it allows to retain the user specific data, and the user specific data means that if, for example, there are the display is set as per required by the user. So there are say 14 users having 14 different displays. So they are not going to affect each other because this user specific data is stored into each of their session variables on the server side. So they will see what they have set to see. All right. And this data is stored securely on the server side. So for example, if 25 people are taking the same exam at the same time, okay, and their scores are different as per their attempt, that's the way it's going to be. Their scores are not going to conflict with or interact with or change other people's scores, right? So you have to use session variables. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It will be a disaster. So you should be able to understand carefully what are session variables. All right. So once a session is started, session variables can be set by assigning values to them. For example, we say that username is John Doe, okay, and of course this username, I can have a password also, which will whatever that password may be. So you start a session, okay, and that is stored on the server side, and then of course the session is started, right? And we start storing data in the session. Username is this, so this username is going to be visible. Dollar underscore session username Jane Doe, I'm sorry, Jane Doe, will be visible across all the pages, and also the email address also. And when I echo it, so okay, so I will get whatever that username was for that global variable. So I can start a session, I can end the session also, destroy the session, okay, or I can unset it also. All right, so what happens if destroying the session is critical, that the data is not leaked or accessible to unauthorized users after the logout. So when the logout takes place, we unset it or destroy the session. Okay, so there are PHP offers several measures to enhance session security. What are those methods? They're using session regenerate ID to change the session ID after login and setting secure cookie flags. So there are a number of ways to secure the session. Dollar underscore session to be more precise. All right. So what are some of the key applications of PHP dollar underscore session method? So now we look at some of the key applications of the session variable, the global session variable dollar underscore session, and there are quite a few of those applications, and we'll briefly look at them. And what I'll do is that I'll give you some examples also, and show you the code for one of the examples. So, for example, user authentication and login systems. So basically, what we are looking at here is that a person has logged in successfully or not, and that person uh, accesses a page, and on that page the value of the session variable is checked. So if the session variable is active for that person is allowed to access that page, and if it's inactive, then of course that person cannot access that page. And depending upon what the code is there in the page, that person might be sent to, or the control may be sent to that page, whatever that page might be. You can do this, all of this. And of course, if when you log out, then that session is killed or unset, as we discussed in question number 9. So if you do a back, then back is going to not show you that page, because when you do the back, that session is checked again, that session variable is checked again, and if it's not active, then the default you are sent to the default page. So there's nothing magical here. You have to code everything, you have to think about everything, you have to think about all the scenarios, so that requires strategic thinking. Okay, then is the shopping cart management. Shopping cart management, basically you everybody has used shopping cart. You are buying certain items, or and you they are going to the shopping cart, and that has to be stored and secured, and it is not like a cookie that you can remove it, or reset it and so on. So I'll give you certain examples here. Then is the tracking user preferences. So you are the user, you set the preference of a background, dark or light, or the font color and everything, and other things also. So that have to be taken care of, because whenever whichever page you go, those preferences have to be uh, uh, followed. Form handling and validation is there. Access control and permissions, which is next step after user authentication, and user notification messages and preventing multiple logins. So let's look at them. And first of all, let me show you one of the. So we have spoken about authentication. Okay. So shopping cart management. So what happens in shopping cart management is that you have a shopping cart for an e-commerce site, and the items which you buy, they or you select, they are stored in the session array. So you are buying the items, adding items to the cart, so details can be stored in session cart, right? And whatever the values may be, these are stored here. Okay, and this card is accessible throughout the session, and it's not going to like go away unless the user checks out or the session expires. Maybe you set the session to expire after, I don't know, 5 minutes it expires, or user checks out. When the user checks out, then there is a button which unsets the session or which destroys the session, because the purchase has been made. So this is for a seamless and personalized shopping experience. I gave you the example of online exam, so that has to be seamless and personalized examining experience. So of course the exams the practice exams in this course and other courses available on easymcq.com, they all have session variables. So so this is how it's going to work. Otherwise, it will be a disaster. And then is session variables for tracking user preferences. So what are your preferences? Your preference is a language, a theme, or a display, all right? And all of them are stored in the session variable, right? And the language is stored here. And of course, if they are like, I don't know, 50 simultaneous users, so they may all have different choice of language, themes, or display. And that has to work seamlessly. And that works seamlessly with the session variable. So then is the form handling and validation, access control, multi-page forms. This is very interesting. Okay, preventing multiple logins. Sessions used to prevent multiple logins from the same user in multiple tabs or devices. How it happens? By storing the session ID in a session variable and validating it. So PHP ensures that only one session is active per user at any given time. Okay, so you cannot allow more than one active session for security reasons. So let me show you how the cart example is going to look like. So this is your shopping cart. I'll show you the running example also. The code is there. So you like buy certain items. This is the quantity and the price, subtotal and everything. So this is the code for generating this simulated data and everything. Okay, so you can copy paste this code. And for your assistance, I have removed the line number so that you don't have to work on it. So let me show you this code running. All right. So initially this is the code, this is the address also. So initially your cart is empty, right? Your cart is empty, and the way it is coded is that if you refresh it, nothing happens, and there's no history. So I load, when I click on load, it will load randomly 5 items. So it loads five items, and now what I want to show you that of course refreshing does not change anything. That's the way it is coded. Now if you remove the history, delete the history, right, nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to change. Okay, let's look at this example. So we have this card session, and what I do is that I basically close the browser, and you see that I get the same thing again, and I refresh it. So the closing the browser doesn't change it because nothing is happening on the client side. Whatever is coming here, that is coming from the, it's not loaded into the database, it is coming from the web server, because I have not established database connection. So if I click on load, then of course then randomly other items are loaded and they change and calculation changes, and I can clear it. So this clear basically is the unset or destroy the session. So the session is destroyed not by closing the browser or deleting the history, but by uh, killing the session. So there is another example here which is about the theme. So I set the theme here. So the theme is light theme. Refresh it, nothing happens, right? Even if I kill the browser, nothing will happen. So I set the theme and I then refresh it, nothing happens because I have to apply the theme. Applying the theme basically sets the session variable. Now the variable is set. Now if I do a refresh, nothing is going to happen. Okay, nothing will happen. And of course, because the session is set at the server side, so I set the session variable to light, apply the theme, and then the theme is applied. This is the power of session variable. All right. So with this, we end the video number 10B.